Well, I'm glad you could make it. Thank you for coming. This is amazing. Scary that this is what we have come to, yeah? The wonderful poet June Jordan has a poem called Poem from the Empire State, and it has the most beautiful ending I think I've ever read in a poem. It ends in a couplet. No rhyme can be said where reason has fled. And I feel like I'm in that space now where like poetry seems so bizarre a form to inhabit when you are being barraged nightly, daily, by the insanity that we are facing. And so I turned to prose. I this afternoon wrote a prose statement that I think I would prefer to read over a poem. This was a free notebook. Free notebooks are the greatest. Words matter deeply. They are what binds us and what sets us free. A constitution of laws, a declaration of independence, a proclamation of emancipation, an address to our own audience and to the audience that will inherit our values and dreams through the record of our own words. For us who are believers in the word, who spend our lives packing and unpacking the meaning of words, it's an unbearable agony to hear words representing falsehoods, spreading lies and spreading hate, because we know the true purpose of a word is to bring us into a deeper relationship of understanding with one another, and to keep a true and living history of our culture so that we may learn from the past and build upon its noblest values and aspirations. Donald Trump is not who we will be in history. The arc of the moral universe does not bend toward petulance and self-interest, but toward justice. We, as record keepers and as witnesses, will be called upon to attest to that arc, to ensure that the damage of this administration does not weaken nor deter our efforts to end racism, classism, sexism, xenophobia, homophobia, transphobia, Islamophobia, and intolerance of all kinds. The power really is yours. Yours and yours and yours. We can speak out against oppression, and we can assist those who may not have the power to speak or the adequate tools. If we are to effect change in the world, we must all commit to empowering those who do not feel empowered. Now's the time to volunteer, to teach a writing workshop at a homeless shelter or at a halfway house or someplace where people need access to the tools of imagination. Flannery O'Connor kept a prayer journal, and a page of it is missing. On the following page, she writes, "Tore the last thing out. It was worthy of me, all right, but not worthy of what I ought to be." This is the problem with Donald Trump. His words are certainly a reflection of who he is. A cheat, a con man, a racist and misogynist, a nationalist who wants to build a wall in the middle of a continent whose people have for thousands of years passed freely from one part to the next. His words are who he is, but in no way adequate to who we need him to be if he is to occupy the highest office in this nation. If he were a page of writing, we'd have ripped him out and said, he is not worthy of what we ought to be. Together, we're going to tear out the pages of history and rewrite them. Donald Trump will be a footnote by the time we're through erasing him. In the meantime, I invite you to practice one small act of resistance every day. Today, if you are on social media, block that motherfucker. You will feel better. Trust me. It's a symbolic act. I know it will not make him go away, but you'll feel better. Here's a poem by the great late Lucille Clifton, who was a shero and a hero to me. A great inspiration. She endured her own share of misery and injustice, but her work was always inspiring and positive. This is an autobiographical poem of hers that speaks to who she was and who we should all be in the world as poets. The light that came to Lucille Clifton came in a shift of knowing, when even her fondest sureties fade away. It was the summer she understood that she had not understood, and was not mistress even of her own off eye. Then the man escaped, throwing away his tie, and the children grew legs and started walking, and she could see the peril of an unexamined life. She closed her eyes, afraid to look for her authenticity. But the light insists itself on the world. A voice from the non-dead past started talking. She closed her ears and it spelled out in her hand, "You might as well answer the door, my child. The truth is furiously knocking."